Lauren, and you're listening to Homeschool Unrefined, the podcast where we keep homeschool simple, real, and fun.
And this is Angela. You've got episode 134, How We Homeschool Through a Pandemic, Part 5. We are going to get to that in just a few minutes. First, hello to everybody. We're so glad you're here. Thank you for coming back for this weekly journal, basically, is what we're doing. Weekly processing time. We are so glad you're here. A special hello to our Patreon supporters. This episode is actually brought to you by our $5 squad on Patreon. Patrons make our work possible, and they get more. 2 episodes, extra episodes every month, extended interviews, and they are the first to know about all of our news and announcements. If you are interested in joining us, you can go to patreon.com/homeschoolunrefined.
And update, if you don't know yet, we are now going to be recording weekly from now until who knows, right?
Right.
We're hopefully, we've been thinking we wanted to do this during this time of this pandemic when we're all at home and we're processing through so much. And we've really, really enjoyed being back on our weekly schedule.
Yeah, it almost feels, it feels a lot better. It almost feels easier and better for me, at least.
More normal. Yeah. And so if you've missed any of our last few episodes, I think we're on part 5. So we've got 4 episodes before this where you could go back and listen to those 2, just to help process through this time.
For sure. And how we're structuring these episodes is first we are talking about the state of our families, which is just kind of an update about how we're doing and how our families are doing. And then we are going to move into the nitty gritty, which is where we talk about actually what we're doing.
Right.
So, and that changes. Sometimes it changes, sometimes it doesn't. But
well, and sometimes it doesn't change, but we have other thoughts about it.
Yeah.
We have thoughts.
We have thoughts. So, and then we'll come back at the end for our Loving This Week's.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep. All right. So, Angela, do you want to start? Should we start with the state of the family?
Sure. Right. That would be great. Okay. So, my family's doing well. Jeremy is gone. So we are recording on Thursday. This comes out on Monday. He's been gone this week.
Okay.
Again. And so he was also gone 2 weeks ago. He's going to be gone every other week. That's sort of been his schedule all since September. And he has had to keep that schedule. And so he's flying to Ohio. And 2 weeks ago, it was, I think I told everybody, my worst week of parenting ever.
Yeah.
And so I was really dreading this week, and it has not been as bad at all as I thought. And I'm trying to examine why, but I think it's because this whole quarantine and staying at home is not new to us anymore. We've had practice. We've had practice with him being gone. We've put some rhythms in place. Yes. We're emotionally a little bit more stable. And so it feels better this time.
For sure.
Feels better. We're still really looking forward to him being home, and it's still really hard, but it's better than it was before.
Right. And there was so many unknowns before, and now you've done this, the answers to a lot of those things. We know how this works.
I was nervous about him flying and being in a different state and coming home. And I'm still nervous about that.
Oh yeah.
But I don't know. What can I do? What can I do? This is the way it is. Also, I've kind of changed, and I told you guys this last week, but I'm still not listening to news or reading any news. I'm doing daily yoga meditation. I think that has really helped my emotional state, my anxiety.
So great. And
2 weeks ago, I wasn't doing that. So I feel like that has also helped as well, and I'm going to keep doing that. Great. I'm still it's interesting. I'm able to pick and choose the news. I still know what's going on, but I'm not deep diving into stories and statistics and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely.
I miss the news, and I've been listening to news that's not about the coronavirus, and I'm happy to do that.
Yeah,
there's not much of it, but if there ever is, I will do that.
Yeah. Would you ever listen to news about that's coronavirus adjacent, personal stories?
No, I don't
of how people are doing like in a positive way.
Yeah. Okay. So like I've told everybody I love Pantsuit Politics. They're like my favorite news podcast. I'm still listening to them.
Yeah.
They are not talking about like alarming statistics or like, they're talking. I would say it's like, go ahead.
Okay. I was going to say like the Daily had an episode about one of their reporters who talks to her grandma every day, and like they've reconnected, and she's learned so much about her grandma. So
I didn't know that.
I thought it was so great.
That's great.
Yeah, I'll share that one with you.
Yeah, I mean anything like coronavirus adjacent, I would love to listen to, and I feel like Pantsuit Politics does a really good job at that.
Okay, great.
And I would turn it off if it veered. I would just turn it off. But so far it's been okay. I feel like it's kind of about the two of them, the two hosts, and like how they're dealing with it a little bit. And so I feel like things are from their perspective, which I actually like.
Yes.
So that's made this week a little bit better. I'm less anxious, but
good.
I think I'm also, like we talked about last week, like we're realizing this is a marathon now. It's not a sprint.
Yeah.
And the first few weeks of this was like intense, new,
totally
exciting in a hard way, and a scary way, somewhat scary way.
Yep.
And so I feel like now that we've come into this marathon phase, it's just the energy around it is a little bit different for me.
Totally.
You can't be like at a high level of anxiety for that long. I can't.
It's unsustainable. Yeah.
It's unsustainable.
Yeah,
so.
For sure. And I feel like we've all had to learn to find some sort of joy in the imperfection of life right now. I mean, everybody has this, everybody is dealing with something.
Right.
And that's not easy right now.
Right. And my kids are starting to ask, I'm curious if yours are, my kids are starting to ask how long this is going to go on for.
Oh, yes.
And like they're trying to ask about summer and the fall.
And we just don't know.
And those are hard conversations.
They're tough. Yeah.
Yeah. And like when they're going to see friends, and when are we going to see grandparents and family and stuff like that.
Right,
so
right.
That part I think is, like we can handle not seeing people for a short period of time. But if this is going to go for months, I think that's going to be hard. It's going to be hard. It's going to be really hard.
Totally.
So
yeah, it's really tough, because I spent so much time and effort figuring out ways for our kids to plug in to the community here in Austin when we got here.
Yeah.
And I just thought this is going to be so great because we're going to be here for 5 months. We'll be able to make connections. And then 2 months in, this happened. And like now we're like, I don't know. It's really, I don't know. We had these plans, like we had very specific plans for Austin.
Yep.
And which is almost even different than if we were living back home. We wouldn't be like, we are definitely working on making friends these next 5 months. Like I wouldn't normally always be like that specific about it, but here we were really like focused on that. And then that was like the one thing we can't do now. Really. It's tough.
Right.
I mean, I have 2 kids who are doing like some online school, and thankfully they made some friendships beforehand, in real life. And so now they can connect virtually with those friends, but it's tough because it's still new. There's still new friendships and, it's just it's changed everything in that way. So we do feel pretty disconnected. We just feel back. It feels more like we're just visitors, like many other places we went this year on our trip. On our, traveling around the United States, we kind of felt like visitors and maybe a little bit like locals by the end of our time there, but they were pretty short. But here we were starting to feel like part of the community, and it's just now I feel more like visitors again.
Visitor. Yeah.
A little bit. Although because we can hike and we kind of see regular people on our hikes now, we're like or our walks around our neighborhood. People know us. I'm like, oh yeah, they like us. I think they like us. I'm making up these friendships.
I think
now,
we're friends.
I think yeah. And it's mostly older people who know us, who like recognize us all the time. So I just think maybe it's good for them that we are going for walks every day and we can say hi to them.
Yeah.
Good for all of us.
Oh, I'm sure they love seeing you. And I'm sure,
Totally.
I mean, you're kind of hard to miss.
We are.
Lots of kids. And so
exactly.
I'm sure they love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's like our, extent of
Connections
out here.
Yeah.
But we're taking it.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I feel like the other thing that has changed for me during this quarantine is that, and I'm not sure if I said this before, but I'm really feeling it now. Like it's a much more developed feeling. I feel like I need to be on for my kids emotionally. Like I feel like they have a lot of needs right now.
Yeah.
Because we're home all the time. I mean, they don't have as many connections. So like
Yeah.
their outlets are fewer. Plus, it's an emotional time.
It is, yeah.
So I feel like I need to be uber present when I wasn't before.
Yeah.
I feel needed a lot. I feel very needed. And I want to be there for them. Like I want to fill that need, right?
For sure.
And so I feel like I'm having way less alone time.
Yeah.
And way less like putting in my earbuds time.
Yeah.
I feel like prior to this, we had kind of a rhythm. My kids had other outlets, other people they could talk to. I was kind of, I mean, I was still obviously there for them, but I don't know, it wasn't as intense. And now I feel like I'm everywhere I turn, somebody needs me for something.
Right. Yeah.
And it might be just like a small need. It might be a bigger emotional need. But if I try to put in earbuds, I'm interrupted a lot.
Yeah.
And so in thinking about that, I feel like the solution for me is screens. And I said this last week too, but I'm realizing it even more. If I'm going to get any like time by myself, my kids need to be locked into something.
Yeah.
Like, that's consuming them.
Right. Yeah.
And that's screens.
Yeah.
And so I am okay with that.
Right now it is anyway.
Right now I'm okay with that.
Totally.
I feel like it's what I need to do.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to give myself and them grace for all the extra screen time.
Well, you've had a history with your kids and you know that that's not always the case. You know what I mean? Like, and so I feel like there are seasons of this and it's okay. You have to give yourself, I have felt the exact same way. I mean, I actually have felt like because of all of our traveling for this year, starting in August, I feel like I've been like that emotionally on since like July or, last summer. And so I almost feel like I'm getting a little bit of a reprieve from that, although not always, but like, because we're not moving so much anymore. We're not going places. We're not even going out on adventures. There's, it's been a little bit calm emotionally here. A little bit. But I still feel like I need more time away from my kids right now. I just do because of the situation. Because I'm not getting out into the world as much. I need to go out into the world by myself and listen to something. And the more I do that, the happier the rest of the day is for everyone. And I just feel like that's a win. So they can be on screens when I'm doing that, and then I can be on. And it's definitely a worthy trade. For sure.
Yeah, you've kind of just like made me think that the other way I could get that time is just me going by myself on a walk. Like me getting out of the house is another way that I can completely disconnect.
Yeah. And sometimes that's the only way I can really get away, even if my kids are on screens and I'm home. I feel like there's a lot of
they
things
still
like
need stuff.
they still need stuff, or there's a lot of things that I could be doing around here. And it's very, very hard for me to disconnect from everything if I'm home sometimes, from all the work or everything. So getting away from me is really good.
Yes.
I was going to say something. The other thing that I think has actually really helped this whole like neediness thing is that we decided to switch some bedrooms around here. So one of my kids is basically sleeping in our room now. I mean, it's like basically she's in our bedroom. That's her bedroom now too. I mean, we're just we've like pulled a mattress in. That's how like semi-permanent this is.
Yeah.
And which we were so not gonna let that happen.
Oh, yep.
Except it was just the easiest thing for everyone. And it really made my daughter feel like so safe, and that's what she needed right now. That's what she needs right now. So we're letting that happen. But also it has decreased like the bedtime fighting by 90%. I mean, it's unbelievable. It was like this one factor that was like causing a lot of problems. And then once that one factor got taken care of, like so many other, and it wasn't even just bedtime. It was like now it's less fighting all over
Interesting.
the whole day.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's like this seemingly non-connected issue could be something that's, could change everything. So I don't know. I'm glad we made that decision. We really didn't want to, but we did. And then also 2 of our kids just switched rooms because of the sibling dynamics there too. And that was awesome. Yeah. That was just the right thing to do. So
that's great.
Yep.
And because you're in such a temporary living space, it's really easy to do.
It is.
To just try things out.
We're just going to try things out. Right.
That's great.
Yep. Yeah. So those kind of like little things, I think, well, it seems like little, or it seems like something that you can just, I don't know. I was thinking, I'm going to kind of just put this off and just ignore it and see if we can just not do this.
Yeah.
And just finally making the decision to do it changed like everything. So
right. That's great.
Yeah.
How else is your family doing?
Well, I kind of feel like we've hit a good stride this week. I know you've kind of said the same thing. We're in this new pace, this new marathon pace, and I feel like I'm breathing a little easier this week. I'm still loving that 2 of my kids now are doing online work, and I think they kind of like it too. We've talked about that a little bit, but and I just like the dynamic that changes in our family. There's 2 kids working independently, and then the other 2 work with me on things, or we go out for an adventure on on a trail or something together. And it's just, I just think, oh my goodness, this is so nice. This is so nice to have this little break in the intensity of 4 kids in a room, and we don't have like this a huge place right now, and it's so nice to just have a little breather from the whole family. And then the other like kind of factor that's causing just like a little bit of stress for me is that we don't know where we're going to be moving next and like how and when, because of this whole COVID-19 thing. It's just changed. It's put a whole new wrench in our plans. So we've been planning on leaving Austin at the end of May and moving back home. So we're just like, we're kind of just in limbo right now. We have a few choices to make soon. But just not knowing.
It's hard. That's a big deal.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a really big deal.
You just have to really trust that things are going to work out. And
I mean, moving without the whole COVID-19 thing.
Yeah.
Is very stressful.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I feel like that's a big stress on you, because
right.
I know you're trying to find a place to live. I mean, trying to find a place to live is stressful.
It is. Yeah. And ideally we would not be doing this during a pandemic
right now. Yeah.
But
are you moving back to Minnesota?
Yeah.
For sure? You are. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
You just don't know when and exactly where.
Exactly. You got that right.
And how?
How are we going to do this? Yeah.
Because you'll be driving home.
Plans. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. I mean, I'm very excited. I mean, more than ever, I'm excited to have a place to just land.
I bet.
I was excited about that before this whole thing happened, the whole pandemic happened, and now I just feel like that's completely multiplied so many times. Like I'm going to be so grateful for a home.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
I can see that. Definitely.
So, yeah, but it's another unknown right now.
Right. Yeah, my kids, we're all glad to have you coming back, but they're just starting to realize,
like we're not going
to be able to see you.
Yeah.
So
I know.
So
I know.
That's hard.
So it's not really the grand, re-entry that we thought we'd have either. It's going to be a quiet kind of wave from afar.
Right.
So.
All right. Should we talk about the nitty-gritty?
Yes. Let's do it.
Okay.
Right. Yeah. So Angela, what are you actually doing?
Well, okay. Well, I mean, I feel like I shared a lot last week about curriculum and schedules. And so I don't want to, restate all of that because a lot of it is the same. So if you haven't listened to that episode, you should definitely do that. We are making small tweaks, which I think is, again, like I've always said, it doesn't mean you're doing it wrong. It just means you need a change. And, you are going to need to change things up.
For sure.
I feel like, especially as the weeks go on and the weather gets warmer here in Minnesota, we're going to be changing things up kind of a lot. I don't know how long this kind of, work schedule is going to work for us. Because once it gets nice, nobody's going to want to do work. So, we decided we just did a couple little tweaks. We are going on our walk later in the afternoon because that gives us more work time in the morning. So like, I know I had said before we were doing like a 10 to 12 work time. Well, it's not that we had too much to do in that time, but my kids want this like more non-rushed feeling of like having to get it done between 10 and 12.
Wow.
Yeah, and so
Good for them.
they kind of wanted more time to, fit all of their stuff in. And it's not just academic stuff. I mean, they're doing other things too during that time. But they wanted like more of a work time. And so we are doing our walk later in the day, which is also good because then it's warmer.
Great.
I took a cue from you because last week you told me that your kids are making dinner, and I thought, why am I not doing that? And so it's interesting. My kids are so helpful. I mean, in this area, I said, does anybody want to make dinner? And they're like, yeah, I'll do one. And so they're planning that tonight. One of my daughters is making sloppy joes. So I'm excited. I think when we're done recording, that's what I'm going to go eat. So that, I mean, I think I was worried about like them not knowing what ingredients we had and what we should use up and stuff. But I just, worked with them for a few minutes to figure it out.
That's great.
And then we figured it out. I don't know. So that is also a change. We're doing some like group exercise together at home.
I saw that.
Which is
Instagram.
Awesome. We're doing some dance videos.
That sounds great.
Which I like. We're following Allison Holker on Instagram. She does she and her husband do these dance videos Monday, Wednesday, Friday at noon.
So great.
Live. And so we're loving that. And then and I'm also, and because I'm loving it so much, I'm thinking, why have I not done this before? Like, I think I've always been really reluctant to do any kind of exercising like at home in the basement. I just think at home I'd rather be outside, so I've just been really like reluctant. But now that I've done it a little bit, I'm like, oh, this is kind of fun, and I can also go outside.
Yeah.
I can do both because we have time.
Totally.
So we're doing that.
Great.
I think I talked about last week how I'm doing these special days for my family.
Yes.
And just different things to look forward to each day. Like Tuesday is me making pancakes in the morning. Wednesday is Survivor. Anyway, I couldn't think of anything for Monday, but we came up with something, and it's called just like Bread Monday. Because
I love it.
Because
get ready for this. Bread Monday. I love it.
Because I took out the bread machine on Monday. I just happened to, and
oh my gosh.
We like made a big loaf of white bread, and everybody was just like so happy. And they just ate it all right there. And they were like, we need to do this. And I was like, we can't do this every day, you guys. This is so much bread. And then I was like, oh, this could be the thing we do on Monday. And then they were like, Bread Monday. I just love the name.
I think that is so genius.
Okay.
Seriously.
Good.
I was just thinking when I saw you did stories.
I storied about it today.
About it yesterday or today.
Yeah.
Was it today? I was thinking, I wonder if my mom still has her bread maker, because I've never had one, but I wonder if my mom still has one, and can I somehow get that when we get back to Minnesota?
They're not super expensive, and they're worth it. I know you can't go to Goodwills and stuff now, but like 10 years ago, I got one at the Goodwill, and I used it for a long time, and then I got rid of it because I like to be minimalist.
Yep.
And so sometimes I get rid of things too many things.
Yeah.
But then I wanted one again, and I tried to find one used, and I couldn't. So I bought one, and it wasn't super expensive, and it's worth it.
Okay.
I think because the smell alone, like I can't eat it because I can't have gluten, but the smell is amazing.
Gluten-free bread in there?
I did like a year or two ago, but it takes lots of eggs.
Oh, yeah.
And I can't have eggs now, so
that's so
it's
tough.
okay. And it's gluten-free bread. It's not that great.
Yeah. It's not going to be as good as the one your kids are eating. So
right. So it's
tough.
fine. They were so happy. So anyway.
I'm right now like searching on Amazon bread machines.
Oh, I can just tell you the one I made. Okay. I'll put it in the show notes.
Okay, great.
The one I got.
Okay. Thank you.
But it's so easy because all you do is, I mean, like, anybody can do this. You add the ingredients, like there's like water, flour, salt, yeast, or something. And it's like you just add it in order, like just like push the button.
That is amazing. Like, you don't have to like let it rise.
I mean, the machine does it all.
The machine does it. So you don't have to
3
be
hours.
there. You don't have to be
there, and it just like starts making your house smell nice, and it's
Sounds
just
amazing.
It's great.
My goodness.
Okay.
Ooh.
The other thing for us that I just wanted to talk a little bit about is my 11-year-old started a hybrid school in February of this year. Mm-hmm. So he did that for like, I don't know, 5 or 6 weeks. And then we had this happen. So he had a little bit of this hybrid school. And they've all moved to doing everything online, distance learning. And it's a lot of work. And they're working so hard at trying to do like really creative things and get everything up on Google Classroom and being in communication with us. And I really appreciate all of that. But it's just too much for him. The amount that he can do with me is much less than he could do with a teacher in a school setting. Oh, and I think that's probably true for like most kids, you know? Yeah. Doing it at home with your mom, I think is sometimes more challenging than having an outside person
for sure.
Like walk you through it. At least for my child, this
especially
particular child.
In a formal, it's a formal kind of setting. And so it's tough to do that at home sometimes.
Right. The motivation is hard to find.
Yeah. If you were doing lots of other learning activities at home that weren't so formal, it'd be totally fine. I mean, you guys do that all the time. But like these specific things, that's tough.
It was tough. Yeah. So, I have just said no to most of the things. He is still doing math. But all of the other subjects, which there's probably 5 or 6 other subjects, we're just not doing.
Yeah.
And I, told the teacher, like, this is our plan. We're still doing lots of other stuff at home. I mean, we're doing stuff that, like, I think is important for him, at home, and that he and I have come up with together. But we're not doing all of these other, like, school assignments.
Yes.
Because it would cause too much headache and heartache and conflict between the two of us to do it. Yeah. And I emailed his teacher and I told her our plan, and she was very supportive and very, like, she loves our plan. She thinks it's great.
That's awesome.
And it was great. And she said, we put all this out there because, like, some parents want a lot of things.
Exactly. Yep.
Some parents want a lot.
Yep.
So, so we're trying to make them happy too. And I get it. I understand. And so I just wanted to encourage you, if you're feeling like that may be the case for your child, for either your co-op or your school or whatever you have outside, any outside activity, that you are ultimately in charge.
Yeah.
And so even though it might ruffle some feathers or something, you do know what's best for your child. And I want to encourage you to do that, to kind of like keep everybody's emotions and like state kind of regulated throughout
and
this.
I think it's great for kids to, and I don't know if I mean, I'm not saying you have to do this all in front of your child or whatever for them to see you doing this, but I can see the benefit of your kids watching you, like, say no and have these boundaries a little bit. So, like, because I feel like when we do it as adults, then our kids are like, oh, this is how we make boundaries. Like, this is how I make it right for myself. Yeah. I mean, I have to say something because nobody knows what I need. I need to say that. Right. So
yeah. That's exactly true.
Yeah.
So anyway,
that's so great. Loving that.
Yeah. All right. That's all I have to share. Do you have any nitty gritty?
I've got a lot of nitty gritty, I think, actually, now. I feel like I've been thinking of things.
Okay.
From this schedule that I shared last week and we put on Instagram this week, which I am, feel very vulnerable about, which I don't know why. I just think it's just what we're doing. So I don't know why I care. But,
I mean, it is, like I said last week, it is vulnerable to put anything out there for the world because people judge whatever you say or do.
Somebody out there's going, oh my gosh, that's not enough. And somebody else is saying, oh my gosh, that's way too much. Don't do that. And I also think another part of that is because it is such a transient schedule. Like, I don't know, by week to week, it's going to change so much, day to day, hour to hour. Yeah. And what I realized from that schedule was that I feel like it was a little aggressive.
Oh, really?
And
okay.
Not because that's too much to do. Like the actual number of things to do was not too much, but I think it's because, and I kind of talked about this on Instagram stories this week, that so much of what we're doing is not on that schedule. Yeah. So much of our living and our learning is not on that schedule. Yeah. And it fills up our day. So, I want to give credit to those things too. So, like, I don't want to just take them off our plate just because I wrote something else down on a piece of paper. Yes. So, yeah. So, and I really liked, I don't know if you follow on Instagram, Kids Eat in Color, I think it's called.
No, but I've heard people mention that, and I think I need to. I'm going to write that down.
It's a great site. I mean, it's especially great for younger kids. She really focuses on younger kids, but I think there's a lot to learn for everybody, for sure. Older kids, adults, everybody. But one of the things that I was reading on her page I think it was just this week, how she was talking about how you shouldn't, well, she wouldn't say you shouldn't. She was saying, what is better? Like having a plate of food and then like this treat as dangling in front of your kids saying, if you eat everything on your plate, you can have this treat. Or do you just put the treat out with all the other healthy stuff and say, this is our meal tonight? So, you know, like, so basically the treat is like this thing that we've actually put more value on because we've said no to it. It's the reward. It's the thing that you have to try and work for to get it. And I think I want our schedule to be more like that, where the things that we're doing that's not on our, you know, curriculum, not in our curriculum or, you know, our plans. I don't want those things to be the thing that I dangle in front of my kids. Like, if you can finish everything on our list, then we will go, you know, play in the creek, or we'll go do something fun. Or, you know, I just think I want it all to be just part of our lives. So that is what I've really been pondering this week a lot. And I know I've been pondering this for years, trust me, but I feel like especially this week because the schedule was.
So you feel like the things that you put on that weekly schedule were more like have-tos or...
Yes, exactly. They were like the veggies. They're the veggies.
The veggies.
Yep.
Okay.
And I don't want the veggies to be more important than all the other stuff either. I don't want it to, I don't want them to think, well, this is the only stuff my mom cares about because she wrote it down on the whiteboard that's what we have to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And becomes kind of like this like a little bit unhealthy relationship with the things on this board, whatever it is. So I'm trying not to put too much of my, attention on just the things on the board. And I don't want to put too much attention on just the things that we're working towards, you know, I don't know.
Yeah.
Doing when we're done with all those things or whatever. So anyway.
That's hard. That is a really hard balance. I feel anxious hearing you say that because I think, oh, what do I need to relook at? Because of course my mind goes to, well, if I give the treats more importance, then all they'll want to do is the treats. They won't want to eat the veggies.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
But I know that's not true.
Yeah. Well, it's tricky, and it's not something that just happens like right away.
Yeah, overnight.
You know, it's if you were always just giving your kids a plate of veggies and then dangling the treat in front of them, and then you just the next day said, "Oh, we're not doing that anymore. You can just have the treat whenever during your meal." Of course, like for a long time, the kid's just going to pick the treat. And maybe just pick the veggies or whatever. But it, you know, at some point, their nature, you know, they'll figure it out. But anyway.
Yeah. That's good.
That's what I'm kind of like pondering this week a lot. We are doing a lot of the same things though this week. We are doing Mark Rober videos for science. We're still watching CNN 10. We are we're still doing Dreambox, which has been a great kind of change for us in math. It's kind of this new thing for us. So it's working right now for us. We are trying a new spelling app this week, and it's called Simplex Spelling.
Oh, yeah.
Did I tell you about this?
No, but somebody suggested it.
Oh.
And I looked at it.
Yeah.
And I don't know what happened.
Good.
Did I try it? I don't remember. What do you think?
I really like it. I like it because there are like 4 different apps for different levels. So it goes up to kind of like 5th grade. Yeah. That's what they say anyway. And I'm sure it could go beyond that if, you know.
Yeah. Right.
You know. Anyway, so I don't know. And it's not little kid focused really.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I need bigger kid spelling fun.
Yeah. It's not fun. It's not super fun. It's just,
no, I know.
You know,
spelling practice.
It's practice. Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see. We're trying it out, and it's very, you know, simple to use and quick. You know. So.
Are you entering your own words in, or do they have words?
No, they have words. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yep. So, and then here is the other thing that I'm doing that I feel like maybe is helping this this idea that I want to give space to the things that we want to do more and that we think of throughout the week. Like I have the schedule, this weekly schedule, but then what about the things that pop up? So I I created a list, for it's kind of like the schedule where it has Monday through Friday written across the top, but the rest is blank. It's just blank. And then when something comes up that seems like a great project to do, like sometimes my personality is, okay, let's do it right now, because this is when you're excited about it. This is when we're going to remember to do it. Let's just do it now. But I think that kind of takes away from the schedule that I made, or, the other things that we kind of planned. So I have this other blank sheet of paper, and I'm writing things down like, oh, like tomorrow we could do this because you had this great idea. So it's really like kind of more kid focused, but I'm trying to disperse the excitement of things like throughout the week. So it's not all like at one time or too chaotic or, takes away from something else.
So if you get an idea on Monday, you might write it down on Tuesday.
I might say, yeah, let's do that Tuesday, and then that way we just won't forget about it. My kids are always afraid, we're going to forget to do this tomorrow. I know it. And they're not wrong. We forget a lot. Like, for example, Mark Rober always has great ideas right at the end of his video. Okay. He'll do this great science lesson, and then he'll say, now I want you to try this. And we always want to try it, but like it's not the right time right after we watch the video. Sometimes we need supplies for it, or we, we have other things to do. So we're just, now writing those things down. Or I get an email from my daughter has this music teacher who comes up with these great ideas, but like they can be very time consuming. Like, I want you to record this thing, and then he is, this master musician, and he like puts all these videos together, and it sounds amazing. But like we can't do it right now. So like we just write that down. Let's do that on Wednesday or something, Okay. We'll work on that video for music. So anyway, those are things.
That's a really great idea. I like that.
Yeah. Simple. I mean,
it's simple.
I could have done this a long time ago. This is when I'm like, why didn't I think of this a long time ago? But here we are.
Okay. And then like, let's say you wrote down that music video thing for Wednesday, but then you have your other things that were already on your schedule for Wednesday. Well, are you trying to fit them all in, or are you like, we'll get rid of them?
Exactly. Yes. But then by Wednesday, I'm like, well, we're not going to do all these things. So on Wednesday morning, I'm like, well, I got to make this video. We got to make this video. So what are we going to take out?
Okay.
Yeah. It has to be. It cannot be a long list. I don't like to have a long list of things to do every day. So, yeah.
Okay.
Another thing we're doing is we're trying to do more hiking in the morning, or getting out, because for a few reasons. Number one, well, it originally was because it was getting so hot here. Now we've had like this cool weather, which has been really awesome. But also, the place where we like to play there's like a creek near us. It often in the afternoon gets very busy with people, and it makes me a little nervous. Yeah. So in the morning, nobody is there, and it just feels safer to me to be out. And so we usually go out in the morning. And what happens there, I've kind of talked about this a little bit, but my two kids are doing online learning. They're often working during that time. So I often just have two kids at that time. And it's really been a sweet time of just like the three of us.
Yeah. That's
spending
great.
time together. Yep. And I was going to talk about, and we got tadpoles. We grabbed some tadpoles from the creek because there are millions down there, and we were watching them grow up every day. It was just so sweet. I mean, it's amazing. They like change so quickly.
So you brought them home.
So we brought some of them home. We made a terrarium.
Oh, wow.
And we're kind of doing that. And I feel like that's like so much, there's so much learning happening there.
Totally.
So that's
great.
Been
Good
really
for you.
awesome. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel like those kind of things can take up so much of our day. And then the things that I have on my list can just kind of go in between.
Yeah. Right.
The tadpole watching.
Right. Yeah. So do the two who are with you doing homeschool stuff, are they like mentally feeling like the day is spent with my mom doing?
I don't think so, because the other two are in and out so much. We do see them a lot. Mm-hmm. We do see them a lot. We spend time together a lot.
But I mean, are they thinking like, I'm not really working independently. I'm doing like, we're either going for a walk and then coming home and doing a science video, and then we're doing music. And so they're like, kind of their whole day is like, what's next, Mom? Is that what's happening? Or do they have like periods where they're off doing their own thing too?
No, they're definitely off doing their own thing.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah, but not, I mean, it's obviously not like online learning.
No, but they're like playing or doing a screen thing or whatever.
Yeah.
And then you'll just be, sorry, I have to ask these questions because is like, this is just not the way it works in my house. So then you're like, okay, everybody, we're going to now go for a hike. And then they all just come, or.
Well, it's kind of, sometimes we'll have it written down on our whiteboard so they know it's happening.
Okay. Yes.
Or I tell them ahead of time. Like
you do.
Right now, we're going to do read aloud and then we're going to go for a hike.
Okay.
That's often what happens.
Okay.
But then
gotcha.
I can't keep saying, now we're going to do this. Now we're going to do this. That's too much for them to be like, you're telling me what to do all day. I can't handle that. So we might do read aloud, go for a hike, and now you get to go play for a while.
Yes.
Do your own thing. And then I need you to come back and do work on, your math for a little bit.
Okay.
Then you can go play with the tadpoles.
Yeah.
Okay. So every once in a while, I'll just bring them back. And
yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. And that's what works for them.
That's great.
And it'd be different if we're all four of them. I don't know.
I know.
I'd have to relearn this whole thing again.
I know. Because that's a whole lot of people to get on the same page.
It is. And it's almost impossible.
Right.
Especially the older they get, I think.
I know. I feel like that's where we're at right now is my kids are more like, I'm busy. I'm doing my thing.
Yeah.
I'm not going to come and do your thing.
I know. It's like a double-edged sword, though, because you're like, that's kind of the dream. That's kind of what we've been working towards for a really long time.
Yeah.
For you to be doing your own thing and to be independently interested in something or working on something.
Yeah. I know.
It's tough, though.
I don't know. I feel like I'm just always trying to go, balance that.
I know.
So.
Yeah. So I was also just going to say, though, and I know we aren't specifically talking about self-care necessarily. We're going to do that. We usually do that in Patreon a little bit. But I have to say it's been kind of tricky because I've been doing these morning outings with my kids. I have kind of given up that morning time by myself now. Yeah. And I just don't know. I don't know what to do about it. Like something has to change because I really need that time away. Mm-hmm. So one little change for the better for my family. Now I have to
shifts everything else.
Yeah, change the whole scope of my whole self-care schedule.
I get it.
So it's like when one thing gets better,
I know
something else could be really making it be really tough.
I know.
So.
I feel like that. Like we started going on family walks, right? Because everybody needs to get out. I know it's cold, but you need to get out, and we're doing this. And then, but that just meant that I'm not going on a walk by myself because I'm like, oh, am I going to go right after that again?
Right? I know.
Or I got to wait a couple hours, and then I don't know. And then it's a bad time. It's just it made me get out of the rhythm, so I understand that.
The other day, I went for a hike with 2 kids, came home, went for a hike by myself.
You did,
and then came home and went for a bike ride with my daughter, and I was like.
It's a lot of exercise.
Yeah, we could have spread this out at least. And then, because that's just like, and I just think, well, I mean, it's better than nothing, but I could have planned this better.
Yeah.
But then sometimes the plans don't work out anyway. The plans don't work out. So.
And it's when it's weather dependent too. It's like, oh, it's too hot, or it's raining, or it's too cold, or something. Yeah,
I agree.
Okay. All right. Well,
there we go. There we have it.
There we are. All right. Let's move on to loving this week.
Okay. Angela, What are you loving this week?
I am loving the show Little Fires Everywhere.
Yes.
On Hulu. So this is based off a book by Celeste Ng, which I read. I don't know. I know you read it too. What, a couple years ago? A few years ago it came out. And I really liked the book. But I have to say, I am loving the show so much more than the book. Not so much more. I don't want to say so much more because I remember really loving the book, but I've kind of forgotten it. And now I'm like, oh, this is really good.
Okay.
So, it stars Reese Witherspoon and Kerry Washington. I know you're watching too.
Yep.
Right? Yep. And I just love well, first of all the actors. There's a lot of like teen actors. And they're all so good.
They are. I agree.
They are so good. And so are Kerry and Reese. But I think the teen actors are amazing. And it's set in the 90s, which I also like that setting because I'm brought back to
brings me back
to like high school.
Yeah.
And then I just love all of the conversations about like race and class and privilege. And I love shows that tackle that. So I am here for the storylines.
Yeah. Yep.
And I'm loving it so much.
Good. That's awesome.
Yeah.
I feel like I am liking it a lot, but I loved the book. I loved the book so much. And I don't know why. I think it's just, it's why most people, it's probably for the same reason most people like books better than the movie. I just had something different in my head, I guess. I don't know. I was not thinking of Reese as the main character. And I don't know why. She plays it just like, that's kind of her character.
Yeah.
She plays in a lot of things. So I don't know why.
Well, I feel like, okay, so it's not over yet. I think there's going to be like 8 episodes and maybe 6 have come out now. And so I think it might change. I don't know. I feel like Izzy was a bigger character in the book than she is in the show. But I'm also like just waiting because I think that might be more developed later.
Yeah, for sure.
So I feel like there are some differences, but I'm really liking
the differences.
Yeah, or I'm just liking this take on it.
Yeah. Awesome.
And I think I just don't remember the book that well. And I'm going to probably want to go back and read it after this. Because I am now curious.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I love it. I love it because of the storylines. Mostly the storylines and the acting is just so good.
Yeah.
Reese,
it is all really good.
Reese's kids, and her husband is played by Joshua Jackson, who I love.
I love him too. Yeah.
Their kids look like them.
They do.
And look like each other. And they're all amazing actors.
That play into your,
yes. I mean, I always look at that because I'm super into. I'm into that.
Interesting because that did not cross my mind.
That didn't.
That was not important to me.
Oh.
That the kids look like.
Well, I mean, they don't always have to. I mean, it's not like that in every family, but I just feel like, they did a good job casting.
Yeah, they did. That's true.
And they're all good actors.
Yeah.
So, like, how did that happen? And the girl who plays Kerry Washington's daughter. Forgot her name. Mia.
But
no, Mia's daughter.
Oh,
what's her name? Pearl. The girl who plays Pearl is so good.
She's my favorite.
So good. I know.
I do love her.
So,
yeah,
I'm liking that.
I don't know. I think maybe it's just the drama. I don't know what it is.
Oh yeah, you're not big on
I'm not
too much drama.
But I loved the book, and I think it's because in my mind I made it less dramatic.
Yeah, you know what? The book maybe wasn't as dramatic.
Yeah,
maybe that's what it is.
Could be. The music and the lighting and stuff, all of that is like okay. I get
it. A little over the top.
It's
okay.
It's good. I think it is good, and I've liked other dramas with all this stuff, so I don't know what it is.
Yeah,
but I do.
I know, I get it.
I think it's. I'm gonna keep watching it for sure.
Yeah. All right, what are you loving this week?
All right, I am loving a new app that I just got, and it's called Likewise. And
Okay.
it is basically an app where people help recommend things for you.
Okay.
Media. Mostly, it's all media.
Oh.
So TV and movies, books, podcasts. So
you put in what you like.
You put in what you like, and then it recommends things for you, and it gives you a couple every day. A couple of recommendations every day. So, because they want you to come back.
Yeah.
And then also what I'm loving is there's a place where people can answer. You can ask a question. I'm looking for a cheesy romantic comedy or something, and people can answer. Give you recommendations. And it's not like they don't type in their answers, so it's not like you have to read a bunch of like lengthy comments. It's like people just add a recommendation. You start typing in your recommendation and it pops up. Like you have to pick a choice.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So you can't just write all about.
So it'll just like, if you're like, I need a romantic comedy and you say like how to lose a guy in 10 days or whatever.
Yeah.
Then it's just like that shows it just, that's it.
Exactly. There is a place to add a comment. So you can, if you want to, but it's really not like the norm. So I kind of like that because it's just like I can go through a list and so I can see people's questions and all the recommendations underneath it.
Oh, nice.
And I've answered some people's questions, which I kind of like doing now. And I feel like I could ask a few. I feel like I've thought of a few that I could ask,
So is this just for media?
Okay, then there's also, so it's TV and movies,
Okay.
books, and podcasts.
Oh.
So.
Nice.
Yeah. So far, I'm really loving it.
All right. I'm going to try that. Definitely.
Great for when you're home 24 hours a day.
Right. That's perfect.
Yes.
All right. Well, thanks for this conversation.
Yeah.
It was great being with all of you. If you would like to follow us, we are on social media on Facebook and Instagram at Homeschool Unrefined. We do have a closed Facebook group called Unrefined Homeschoolers. We'd love to have you join us there. And then we do have a website where you can listen to our episodes. So that's like a good way to share an episode is through the website. And then there are links to all of our show notes and everything that we've talked about. So we will see you next week.
Thanks for listening.
Homeschool Unrefined is created and produced by Maren Gorse and Angela Sizer. Ethan Miller is our editor, and Amanda Ginn is our VP of all the important things.